If you're using the app on a computer, your screen should look something like this. The controls are well laid out and often repeated for ease of use. We'll start in the right-hand corner with this gear icon that'll open your settings menu. Above it will be your initials, and they link to some profile features. The menu is easy and quick to understand. I'll be giving you a quick overview of some of the menu's main functions. I won't cover everything, just what you need to know to start a meeting and to use Zoom. Let's start with the Contacts tab. This tab is like an address book for your Zoom account. You can add other Zoom users as contacts to quickly invite into a meeting or direct message without having to send an email link every time. To add a contact, we click this plus button here, select Add a Contact, and enter their email address here. They will then get a request to that email, and once they've accepted, you'll unlock a couple of extra features that you can see beside their name here. Let's move over to our Meetings tab. This tab is really important, as this is where you'll find your personal meeting ID, or PMI for short. When you create your account, you're assigned a 10-digit PMI. This number never changes and can be considered in the same way you would a phone number. Everyone's is different, and through this number, people can get in touch with you on Zoom. Each PMI is linked to a private meeting room that is connected to the account. This room comes password protected, and you can check your password here under Show Meeting Invitation. While a password is great to keep people that you don't want out of your meeting, another tool that you could use is the waiting room. Similar to at a doctor's or a dentist's office, a waiting room acts as a place for participants who join your meeting to sit and wait until you're ready to admit them. It's an easy-to-use tool, not just for keeping people out, but more so, it allows you time to get organized and control the flow of your meeting as soon as it starts. I'll show you what the controls look like in the next recording. You can also start your private meeting here, and over here you have a list of your scheduled upcoming meetings, and you can find your recorded meetings under the Recorded tab here. The difference between a PMI and a meeting ID is that a meeting ID is 11 numbers and changes every time you start a new meeting. After the meeting has ended, any links that you sent out will become inactive and won't work, and the room's number and password will not work either. A PMI link, however, doesn't become inactive, so anyone who has a link, who has your PMI number and password, or anyone who is a contact can join the meeting days or weeks later. Let's move over to the Chat tab. Here, I can keep track of my contact requests, leave myself notes or draft messages, or if I click on a contact's name, I can send them a direct message. Let's get back to the Home tab. This space is dedicated to meetings. This calendar here shows all of our scheduled meetings, and the 4 buttons to the left allow us to join a meeting or start a meeting in various ways. The Join button here allows you to join a meeting using a personal meeting ID or a meeting ID number. Below that, the Share Screen button is very similar, but it lets you join an existing meeting, sharing a document or a program on your screen instead of a video. To schedule a future meeting, we use the Schedule button here. If we click on it, it brings up a menu. In this menu, we can enter the date and the time of our meeting, as well as ensure that our personal meeting ID number is not selected, and instead we're automatically generating a new meeting ID. Finally, to start a new meeting, we use this orange New Meeting button here. It is important to note, however, that before you start your meeting, you click this drop-down button and deselect Use My Personal Meeting ID. If you do end up using your personal meeting room, any of your contacts, anyone with a link, or your PMI and password can try and join the meeting. If you do accidentally start your meeting with your PMI, don't panic, because as long as you have a waiting room set up, you can turn away anyone you don't want in your meeting. Alright, that concludes this recording. This should give you an idea of everything that you can do in the app in order to start and hold your own meetings. In just a moment, we'll be taking a short break to answer any of the questions we've got in, and then opening the floor if anybody's raised their hands to ask a question. If you're using the app on a computer, your screen should look something like this. The controls are well laid out and often repeated for ease of use. We'll start in the right-hand corner with this gear icon that'll open your settings menu. Above it will be your initials, and they link to some profile features. The menu is easy and quick to understand. I'll be giving you a quick overview of some of the menu's main functions. I won't cover everything, just what you need to know to start a meeting and to use Zoom. Let's start with the Contacts tab. This tab is like an address book for your Zoom account. You can add other Zoom users as contacts to quickly invite into a meeting or direct message without having to send an email link every time. To add a contact, we click this plus button here, go to Add a Contact, and enter in their email. Let's move over to our Meetings tab.